Hello and welcome to Speed Week. This week bringing you a sprint car special covering the Western Australian leg, the opening rounds of the World Series Sprintcars. Rounds 1, 2 and 3 from Kalgoorlie, Claremont and Bunbury in WA. Now it's time to head to Kalgoorlie and your commentator, Wade Ornger.
Well, we're set to mine a bit of gold, Kalgoorlie gold that is, sprint car style for the Western Swing. This is round 1 of World Series Sprint Cars for 98.99. Good crowd starting to settle in. Traditionally, this is one of the most grueling rounds of the series in Western Australia. We caught up with Brooke Tatnell before this to ask him how he's going to use his American experience.
Hopefully we're going to put that knowledge that we learnt this year into fruition here. It's how you got to look around. You got a bigger than Australian title here. You got Randy Hannagan from the States, who's going to be tough all year. My old sparring partner Brazier is back, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good year, and Skip's been tough. He's knocked us about the last 2 years, so I'm looking to put a bit of revenge there. But no, it's going to be a big year, and I'm sure the Australian Speedway is going to get a big lift.
The competition's really tough here in Australia. You know, it's really tough on the west coast of Australia. That's where I've always been, and you know, now I'm fortunate enough to run with everybody in Australia, and you know, running with Skip, Brooke, and Green, and all of them guys. They're really tough, and you know, I knew that coming in, and just looking forward to having a good season here.
Tonight, what we've got here is an Australian title field, thrown in with a couple of internationals, so it'll be tough. It'll be the toughest series I think that there's probably ever been. As you said, I've snuck up and ran a couple of rounds here and there over the last few years. You'll probably find there's 10 guys that can win races, but there'll be 5 guys that'll be quick everywhere, and out of them, you got to make sure you're not dropping out of races. There's no point in not finishing. So if you finish races and you finish in the top 5 kind of everywhere you go, that'll be an important factor, I think.
Well, every year's been really difficult, but this year it seems like the quality of the competition's extremely tough. So we'll get the same game plans we had last year and the year before, and we'll just see how it all comes together.
You know, the races in Australia's got twice as competitive as it was when I was doing it back in '93, '94. You know, we've got a lot of good drivers here this year, and you know, I'm really looking forward to having a great year. I really think if you can come out of Perth leading the points, you got a hell of a chance of winning it.
Well, that young man has a chance of winning just about every main event he contests. That's Garry Brazier. Controversial in many instances, but always fast. Welcome to round 1. This is heat number 6 on the evening. World Series Sprint Cars. I'm joined in commentary by JJ Maneve, Sydney Sprint Car driver. JJ, who probably wishes you were there at this point.
Yeah, it'd be great to be there. Unfortunately, with a job, that's a bit tough to travel over to Western Australia, but looking forward to some great racing action.
Robbie Farr will carry our in-car camera tonight. He's going to give us a special insight on what it's like to lap this place. Out of turn number 2, Andrew Shirley will be our leader. There is Robbie Farr, hard at work behind the wheel of the Avenger chassis this year. And a car that's been very good to him so far this year, Scotty Milling. Exits stage left coming out of turn number 4. And we can hear, rather than we can listen, that this is a very slick racetrack just at the moment. There is Marty Perovich. There's Scotty Milling, local driver out of Kalgoorlie, sits on the infield. Won't be happy with that at all. Chaz Calandro right in behind Robbie Farr as they come out of turn number 4. Oh, very aggressive into the turns. Looks like we've got a slick, dry, kind of a slippery kind of a racetrack at the moment, JJ.
Yeah, it seems that way. Just from looking at it, you can see the dust coming off the race cars, and also the inside camera there from Robbie. You can hear him really walking the car up on the throttle. He's not just standing on the throttle. You can hear him sort of ease onto the throttle. If you just stand on it here, you'd probably spin yourself out in a heartbeat. Well,
this is where we're going to see the class drivers of the field, because anyone that learns a bit of throttle control will apply it well. The Queenslander out in front, Andrew Shirley, only a youngster, 25 years of age, driving car number 95 out of Toowoomba. And of course, last year, he in fact won this opening round right here at this circuit, which was somewhat of a coup for Queensland sprint car competition. Perovich in second spot in the 52. Gambler, that thing has got the best of everything. Speaking of which, Robbie Farr sitting back there in the 3rd spot. 3 guys in front just at the moment. Got a bit of a break over the rest of the field. You just see Robbie's left arm. What you also notice there on the left-hand side of his helmet, JJ, is a helmet restraint. The strap that runs from the helmet to the race suit to the shoulder. What does that do?
Well, basically, because you're always turning left in a sprint car, usually by the end of a feature race, your head's getting pretty tired. It starts to get over on the right-hand side, and it can really mess you around. It sounds crazy, but as soon as your neck gets tired, you really start slowing down. That restraint's to pull your head down on the left side and hopefully hold you in the car a little bit better so you can keep your speed up the whole race.
Well, this is where fitness plays a big part in it. That's why we've got Justin Manif here with us to give us a bit of an insight into what it's like to drive these winged monsters. And the top three have checked out. You can see everybody running the pole line. There's Robbie Farr once more coming out of turn number 2. Back down the back straight to 3 and 4. Andrew Shirley still your leader. Marty Perovich is doing a big job. This is his first look at Kalgoorlie. An excellent race here. The top 3, he can throw a bikini strap over all of them. Farry getting a little aggressive here. Knows he has to come up with something. Andrew Shirley, however, will do the job and wrap up heat number 6 of the World Series Sprintcars campaign. The first round of the Western Swing. Marty Perovich, good drive for second. Back to Robbie Farr in third. Gets a long way back to fourth. I fancy that was Ron Krikke. Shirley slows down the back straight. Well, he was fortunate in this particular heat. Not everybody has been so fortunate tonight here at Kalgoorlie. Is a classic example. Paul Stubber, the number 31, spins coming out of turn number 4. And this is Dean McComb, the Titan Garages. Number 36 car spinning out of turn number 2. And contact here, Jensen involved. And ooh, Randy Hannagan and Max Dumesny jammed up hard against the wall coming out of turn number 4. It's main event time, and it's going to be a tall order if you're starting anywhere further back than third row. Brooke Tatnell and Trevor Green share the front row. Ooh, if you know anything about the rivalry there, you know we're in for a hot time here. The West Aussies, Krikke and Farrell, share the second row. A couple of names back in the order. It's nice to see some new faces in World Series competition, considering that Madsen and Perovich are newcomers to Kalgoorlie Speedway. They've done pretty well. We're set for a start. Green and Brooke Tatnell share the front row. We're green with green. Out in front at the moment, down the low side as Tatnell climbs up high. There is Dumesny back in the field. A rocket out of turn number 2. Garry Brazier in the 21. Yellow lights are on. Not sure what the problem is there. Maybe some problems with the stewards between Green and Tatnell. Away we go again. Tatnell jumps the whole shot going into turn number 1. Green back in the second spot. Back then to Ryan Farrell, Ron Krikke, Skip Jackson, Robbie Farr, Max Dumesny, Kerry Madsen. And into turn number 3 we go. Yellow again. And I fancy there's some discussion between Brooke Tatnell and the stewards here at the moment. And Brooke Tatnell being sent to rear of the field. Let's have a look at the replay from where Robbie Farr sits. You can see how frantic it is behind him. Just look at that. Max Dumesny giving him a lot of attention. Likewise, I think that was Garry Brazier back in the field there as well. Yes, it was. Gee, it's frantic stuff. And Brooke Tatnell to the rear. Well, you don't think Ron Krikke would be smiling like a Cheshire cat now. The Bunbury Bullet goes into the lead into turn number 1 alongside Trevor Green. And Brooke Tatnell has got one enormous job ahead of him, JJ. That is not something you want to happen when you get in the front row at Kalgoorlie.
No, I mean, this racetrack's hard enough to pass on as it is with this quality field starting from the back. It's going to be one tough effort.
There is Dumesny working it outside in the Sean Enterprises, in fact, the Sean Curran Australia 1 car for this weekend. Kerry Madsen sitting in behind, and going forward, it's going to be the main priority, or at least consolidating a position, although I don't know too many sprint car drivers that like to consolidate, JJ.
No, I mean, the races are pretty short, so you really want to try and just get to the front as quick as you can. Garry Brazier looks like he's starting to get a little bit of a groove there, working for him back in the field, so it'll be interesting to see how he can come through.
Red hot brakes, I noticed too, in the left rear. Let's look at the replay once again on this restart with Robbie Farr. You can see Dumesny up a little high, Madsen right on his tail. You don't realise how sideways the cars are. Look at Dumesny, he's way up high, still getting some groove, but he would be right out of the throttle just trying to keep that car straight. He seems to be making the top part of the track work pretty well.
Yeah, it seems that way at the moment.
Look how close he is.
Yeah, maybe that's a good reason why sprint cars don't have rear vision mirrors.
You could be right. There is Trevor Green in the number 4 car out of South Australia. A welder from Salisbury, although he spends more time behind the wheel of a race car than behind the flame of an arc welder. Out of turn number 4, back in the field, there is Ron Krikke, your race leader. Trevor Green running in the second spot. Skip Jackson in third. And Ron Krikke, one of the most decorated racers in Australian sprint car circles in the West Coast, a 2-time Aussie champion. It hasn't fared the best in the East Coast of Australia. Admittedly, he'd like to tour more, but his local business doesn't allow him to do that. Jackson in the third spot. Jackson is always going to be the man they'll have to worry about, JJ, because he's so methodical in his approach. Doesn't rack up big wins, he's just so very consistent.
Yeah, consistency I think is a word with Skip. He's always up there. He's got the black car and he's like the stealth bomber. He's really quiet and all of a sudden he's right up there.
There is Max Dumesny. Well, from one extreme to the other, Max Dumesny is certainly not quiet. Look at him sideways in a turn 1 and 2. Great pictures. You can see him even starting to buzz that right rear tyre just a little bit. I think Max has got the wick turned up, JJ.
Yeah, I think so. He's around that Sean Enterprises car and he's trying his hardest. But you can see Robbie in the car. He's got a lot of right lock on that car, so he's pretty loose at the moment, getting a bit sideways. You can see Max behind him the same.
Are you looking at his left arm position, his shoulder position by saying that?
Yeah, that's right. You can see his left arm come up over the top, so he's got a fair bit of right lock on that car. Usually when you got the car stuck really nice, the wing will pull you around. It just sits on the left rear and you don't need to give it too much right lock. But you can see from the outside shots there, everyone's kind of sideways. It's just the nature of this track, I think.
Well, look at Dumesny. Well, Farr, sparks flying off the number 3 O'Brien Aluminium Avenger. Here comes Dumesny once again, out of turn number 4. Look how close Max is. Well, I know why Max is doing this. He's got Brazier breathing down his neck, so that's not a fun ride for the Australian champ, who's won this series on 3 occasions and the National Championship twice and 2 National Formula 500 titles. So Max knows how to get around in a left-hand direction. Look at that. Superb pictures. Brazier. Well, he hosed Max Dumesny in the blink of an eye, and Max didn't do anything fundamentally wrong. Brazier tries the move on Farr, who denies him. Well, contact between the two, and Dumesny is right there as well. They're 3 wide going into turn number 1. Well, Robbie Farr, it's a good thing he can't see what's going on behind him because it's frantic at the moment. Max didn't do anything fundamentally wrong. It's just that Brazier wanted the corner more.
Yeah, Gary's just stuck really good at the moment. He's looking to go to the front really quick.
Well, look at that, the outside. Now he's trying the outside, so Brazier's got to be careful here that Dumesny doesn't get a shot back on the inside. You can see Farry on and off the gas a little bit there. The car was a little bit unsettled, and Brazier is just at the back like a big tiger ready to pounce. They go back into turn 1 and 2. Ron Kricke's still your leader. Trevor Green in second spot. Back then, in fact, I think Skip Jackson started to figure this one prominently too now. And Ryan Farrell also having a good drive. Here's Krikke, your race leader, doing a neat job of it. Skip Jackson into the second spot now. And back in third is Trevor Green, the South Aussie, so a West Aussie, a Sydney sider, based in America most of the time, as a matter of fact. Then back to the South Aussie, Trevor Green. And Ryan Farrell putting together a very good run. Here comes Garry Brazier. Well, this has been a big drive. He got far. Don't know how he did it, but he was certainly looking like he wanted the job. There's Dumesny once more going into turn number 3. Krikke is probably going to come under siege now shortly from Skip Jackson, who, it's got to be said, is probably one of the best slick track specialists in Australia.
Yeah, because Skip gets to race in so many slick tracks when he's away in America most of the year. And he gets the car stuck really nice on the bottom of the racetrack. And I think he's just going to have to drive and see if he can get Ron Krikke to make a mistake. But 2-time Australian champion doesn't make too many. So it'll be a good race up front. And Garry Brazier working around the top here.
Yeah, you can see the difference in the 2 cars here right now. The red number 4 to the left of our screen appears more sideways coming out of the turns. Garry Brazier appears to be keeping the car straighter. We're going yellow here. Problem on the speedway. Let's have a look over there in turn. It's Max Dumesny has spun the Australia 1 car. Let's look at Robbie Farr. A little bit of a wheel stand perhaps there coming out of the turn, so maybe we can see what happened to Dumesny later in the piece. Just seemed to spin the Australia 1 car. We saw Farr getting some air underneath the front wheels. Krikke leads them away. Can Skip Jackson pounce? The young fella that looks more like a chemistry student than a sprint car driver, but man, can he unload these things around these racetracks. Brazier is in front of Farrell, is in turn in front of Kerry Madsen. Back then to Robbie Farr and Brooke Tatnell. It's been a big drive from Brooke as Farr goes to, on the inside, Madsen and Tatnell. Well, some aggressive stuff there. Calandro spins the car and keeps it going. We're going to look at the replay here. We'll get a good idea of what's happened. There's Brooke right behind Robbie Farr inside. I think Brooke wanted to make the same pass that Robbie Farr had, but just Madsen went back for the spot. There was no room there.
Yeah, it looked like Brooke got in there just as Kerry was closing the door, and 2 into 1 don't go, unfortunately.
Well, we're going to catch up with Brooke and ask for his side of the story. Pretty aggressive stuff going into turn number 3. I bet we find a fairly disgruntled Tatnell in the pit area. Do it again in slow motion. Bang! Going into turn number 3, that is heavy contact in turn number 3. I hope Madsen's able to restart. Ron Krikke still in the lead from Jackson and Trevor Green. Let's go to the pits right now. And Brooke, what happened?
Yeah, we got back up to 6th behind. We'll try and follow Robert Farr through as he went underneath Kerry Madsen, and Robert got through. Kerry tried to close the door, which he's entitled to, but unfortunately there's two of us going for the one spot, and we just both banged wheels and upended it, and sort of didn't cap off the night that we're looking for. And Kerry and I, we had words with each other, but that's just heated drivers. If drivers meant everything they said 5 minutes after they get out of a race car, everyone would hate each other. But we spoke since then, and we know everything. Neither of us race that way, and it's just unfortunate. But
unfortunate's the word I would have used. We get set for a restart now. Ron Krikke, the Bunbury Bullet, blasts away, going into turn number 3 and 4 at the restart. Skip Jackson hounding him. Who's this on the outside? It's Garry Brazier. Well, Brazier has come from well back in the bus. Get up alongside the driver. He's running in third. He goes around the outside of Green. Oh, I tell you what, I think that Skip and Ron Krikke could be in for a wake-up call if Brazier can keep making the outside work. His car is so straight. The front wheels are in line. Doesn't appear like it's sideways at all coming out of turn number 4, JJ Manif, and that seems to be where he's making the ground. The wing is set well back, and just look how much forward he is coming out of turn number 4 there. That seems to be where he's making his ground. Yeah, well, the car's stuck really good, and the other thing for Garry is where he's running, it's like there's no other cars on the racetrack. He's in his own little line, and look at that. Look at that. On the outside of Skip Jackson. It's like he's found a bit of moisture out there, JJ, that no one else has found. He's out there prospecting at the Kalgoorlie goldfields, and he's found some moisture, and there could be some cash up the road as well. Look at that. Garry Brazier to the outside of Ron Krikke for the lead now. Out of turn 4. World-class racing. This young man from Granville, second-generation racer, Ron Krikke trying to come back at him. We have a new leader, a former winner of this series, and just look at him come out of turn number 4. You used to go to school with this young fella once, didn't you? Yeah, Garry was a few years above us when I started high school, and it was always sort of, when are you going to go racing Garry every week? And it was always, oh, we'll be there next week. And wow, look at him now. He's just blowing everyone away. I think he's got the last laugh, hasn't he? Oh, by a big time margin. What a great talent he is. He's out in front doing it at the moment. Green back in fourth, back to Farrell, back to Farr, Priolo, Andrew Shirley in the 95. Priolo having a pretty good run. And the number 8 car spending time in the East and West Coast, and I guess that's got to help him with seat time. Back onto the main straight, Brazier has timed his run deluxe. There is young Ryan Farrell in about his 3rd season with the Kendrick Racing outfit, and it's nice to see him doing so well. Young man who is a boat mechanic in Western Australia. His father, John Farrell, one of the fairly tidy rally car drivers in Western Australia, as a matter of fact. You see Skip there, he's just trying to move up the racetrack a little bit. I don't know whether he saw that Garry's going pretty fast and trying it, but it just doesn't look like he can get his car stuck good enough up there to make any move on Ron Krikke. When you're saying stuck, JJ, what do you mean by that? Like glued to the racetrack? Yeah, pretty much. You know, you just want to be stuck. You don't want to be spinning the tyres, and that's the important thing. You don't really want to have to slow the car down to match the tyres. It sounds a bit strange, but Garry Brazier's checked out. Look at the lead he's got. It's last lap now, and it's about to be party time in the Brazier camp. The young man who only committed to running the series a couple of weeks ago comes out and does the job. Garry Brazier romps to victory and strikes gold at Kalgoorlie in round 1. Ron Krikke will get second, back to Skip Jackson. Trevor Green will get fourth, back to Ryan Farrell, Pino Priolo, Andrew Shirley. And Brazier has got to be thrilled with that. The left arm is out the window, the 21AU car. Father Steve with the wrenches, that's a lethal combination. Garry Brazier, you've got to be pleased with that effort. That is huge.
Yeah, you know, it was really good to win. You know, I haven't raced World Series for a long time. Actually, the last race I ran was at Australian Open, and I ended up winning that deal. So, you know, I think we're going for a hat-trick with them. But, you know, it's good to be back on the series. Racing with all the toughest guys in Australia, you know, you got that on this series, and you know, I'm just proud to come back to Western Australia and come out a winner.
You know, we've encountered slick tracks here before, and it's a very hard way to drive the track, but young Bray showed me how to drive it. He straight around the outside and gone, but yeah, I just thought if I sat on the bottom, and I know I was sort of probably slower than some and maybe faster than others, that if we just sat there and kept my head, that maybe at the end we might get the checker.
Did it surprise you when a car came around the outside of you on this racetrack?
Not Brazier, because of the boys said that Brazier's been on the pace and he looks like he may go to the outside because he's into 4th place, and I really think that probably there's only 1 or 2, maybe 3 guys in the country that can do that. And you know, when he got there, I thought he didn't surprise me, but I thought I had to fight him from there, but I didn't have a lot of fight. And then coming into off turn 2, actually, he drifted high and I got back in there, but he covered me down and on he went. And he went on to a great victory.
Ron Krikke there, full of praise for Garry Brazier, who now leads the series with 1,000 points from Krikke in 830, Skip Jackson in 665, Green in 550 and Ryan Farrell in 440.